Hi. Years ago, I asked people on Twitter to send me art-related questions. And at the time, I was planning on making maybe like a little animated video answering them or whatever, but that never worked out. But I have some free time right now, and I'm trying to get my mind off of my sick rabbit, who is, I think, doing a little bit better today. I'm not sure. I hope he is. Anyways, so I'm gonna go on Twitter and hopefully find the original tweet that had all of the questions underneath it. Hopefully I can find it. Give me a second. Okay, so I asked for art-related questions back on November 23rd of 2021, and it's currently August 21 of 2023. So that's almost 2 years ago. But I'm going to be reading these questions and answering them. Probably not all of them because I have like 800 of them, but I'm gonna answer what I can. Anyways, question number 1. Do you regret art school? Back when I got this question, I was actually very unsure on what to answer and how to answer this question, but right now I will say no, I do not. Even though the art school that I go to isn't exactly the type of art school that will help me become the type of artist that I mostly want to become, so it isn't like an art school where you can learn concept art or illustration, game art, stuff like that. It is a fine art school, so it's very different from what I want to do as a work primarily. However, my mind on that has slightly changed. Like, I think it has definitely helped me broaden my thought. The other thing is that I don't regret it, because if I hadn't chosen this, I would have had to choose something else to study, and then becoming an artist full-time would have been a lot harder because I would be studying something completely different, and there would be expectations of me doing something different as a job, or I would feel like, oh, I've spent so much time, like 4 years, studying something different, so I must put it into some sort of use. So I do think that this was the best choice that I had. Could have things been better? I think that if I hadn't gone to this art school specifically at all, and I had studied in like some online art school that was more geared towards exactly the type of art that I want to do as a job, maybe my skills would have grown more focused and more uniformly towards that direction, and I would have been maybe more hireable. Maybe I would have a better portfolio to show for it, but overall I don't regret it, even though it's not a very good school, even though I have a lot of complaints with it, even though I've had issues with professors, I've had issues with the type of art that I want to make not being accepted, but I think I'm working on it, and I found professors who I can work with and we can sort of come to an understanding. So I have no regrets about art school. Absolutely. Next question. How do you handle burnout? Also, what's the drawing you're most proud of? Okay, so burnout. I haven't had burnout since the summer of 2020, and that was when I took up a project that I was completely unprepared for. It wasn't a paid project, it was a fan thing. I was working alone, I was losing my mind, I was way out of my depth. I was working some like 10 hours a day for like 3 months straight, and that destroyed me mentally and well, not physically so much, because I have good working habits, so the physical aspect of it wasn't so bad, but the mental aspect of it was terrible. And at the time, that's the only time that I remember feeling burned out, but it was also coupled in with other mental health issues. So I'm not sure to what extent that was burnout, or it was just the other issues. I'm not sure, but that's the only experience that I have with something like burnout, and I did not handle it well at all. So I was just completely destroyed for 2 months, and it took me about 2 years to feel like my brain recovered from that. But I don't normally get burned out. I've been rather lucky so far that I haven't experienced burnout. I haven't had any project that well, basically I haven't yet experienced a proper burnout. I don't think. I just, so far I've like been drawing every single day for the past 3 years. I guess I haven't pushed myself enough yet, so I don't know how to handle it. When it happens, I'm gonna give you an update. What's the drawing you're most proud of? There's a couple of them, and none of them are like amongst my most popular pieces, but I'm gonna put some of them on the video so you see which ones are the ones that I'm most proud of. Okay, next. Who was your inspiration when you began art? Now, I began drawing when I was a little kid and just never stopped. So when I began art when I was like 2 years old, I don't know, my mom, books, yeah, it was probably just picture books and dinosaurs and animals and documentaries and my mom drawing. These were my inspirations when I was like a toddler. But when I first began taking art seriously, I was around 11 or 12 years old. I think 12. And my inspirations were mostly artists on DeviantArt, which most of them I have lost track of. I don't know where they are, what they're doing, but it was mostly like character artists and people who did like fantasy monsters and adoptables and original characters and stuff like that. And it was like a whole world opened up to me at that point, and I was like, oh my god, you can just make whatever you want. Like, you can make a crazy monster and like play around with them in your mind and draw them in different situations and give them accessories and make stories and like share them with people. And that was what made me realize that drawing is something that that you can learn about and improve on, and the more you improve, the more fun it becomes, and you can draw all of these things that you have in your brain. So that was my inspiration when I began taking arts more seriously. But I don't have anyone specific. Okay, next question. Artists who inspire you. I'm gonna put some of them on the video, and you can pause and have a look at them and go look them up. But I'm gonna be honest with you, everyone whose art I like inspires me. I get really inspired by everyone that I see drawing. That's how it works for me. Next question. App or sites where you posted art, and how was your art received? Pros and cons of the sites. Okay, so 4 major sites where I post my art are Instagram, Twitter, DeviantArt, and Tumblr. And I've also posted some art on ArtStation, but I use that more as a portfolio place, so we're not gonna count that. So it's these 4. DeviantArt is, or was, rather, I should say, before it was ruined. DeviantArt was a young artist's paradise in terms of interactions, in terms of what you could do with your art, in terms of customers, in terms of material for inspiration, in terms of everything. Like, it was great. How was my art received? I wasn't ever a massively popular artist on DeviantArt, but I did well enough. DeviantArt was good. It was comfortable. It was nice. I liked it, and I still do like it, and I do still post there, and I feel like the reception of my art is generally good, and I'm having fun there. I really, really like DeviantArt. There are, of course, negatives. It's a mostly artist and art enthusiast site, so you're not gonna find random customers. You're not gonna be mega popular because the user base isn't everyone. It's just artists and art related people. So that's a con, I suppose. Another con is that the layout and functionality of the site has been greatly damaged lately. Another con is the AI art that's rampant over there, and they're not doing anything to stop it, which, like, I just hope this whole thing dies off, because it's stupid and terrible. Anyways, I can't think of any other cons right now. The next is Instagram, and Instagram could be great. It isn't, because they have done weird stuff with the algorithm. I think that the simple layout with like the gallery and stuff and just the picture focused aspect of it is very good, but it's just so difficult to get engagement, to get an audience, to get your art out there. So it's a very unfair platform. And a very difficult platform to grow in. However, I do enjoy posting there, because I can just post all of my art and just have it in a nice little neat gallery for my friends and family to see, I guess. So, yeah, I like it, but, you know, I don't get as much engagement from it, honestly, and there's a lot of bots and a lot of scams and a lot of people who are trying to sell you things constantly, and half the comments on my art are people trying to scam me or people asking for NFTs. It's a bit of a mess, but it's good enough. Not as good as DeviantArt, obviously. The other is Twitter, and with Twitter I used to have a previous account which I don't have anymore. I don't use rather anymore, and that was like a very small fandom account that it was just me and a handful of friends. And now with this account, due to my corpse husband fan art, it grew pretty quickly, and I had a lot of engagement early on, which made it a very enjoyable experience for me, and I was generally having a lot of fun drawing, and that really, really helped me, because this started after this burnout period or like bad period that I mentioned before, in the middle of 2020, that I had, and Twitter and the engagement I got on my art in it really helped me rebuild that enthusiasm and that love about making art and sharing it and stuff. So it has overall been a positive experience for me. Lately it's been dying. Twitter has, but I still have fun posting things and getting people's engagement. So Twitter is great for engagement, with the comments and everything. It's still not as good as DeviantArt in terms of finding the artists that you want and seeing all of their art without unrelated content, because again, it's not an art focused site, but in my experience it used to be, at least, a lot of fun and great to post art in. Lately this has changed, but you know, it used to be fun and nice. So, and the other is Tumblr, which I have been posting art. I used to be posting a lot of art back in like 2014 or something, 2015, as a teenager. and it was great. I was having a lot of fun. And now it's been a year now that I've made my Greek mythology focused blog there, and I'm posting art, and I'm also having a lot of fun. And I think what Tumblr does best is that you can find people with similar interests to you very, very easily and share your art of these interests into the proper tags, and you get the audience that you want for the specific art that you're making very, very easily. So if you're making some very niche fan art, you can find the audience for it on Tumblr very easily. And the engagement is also so much fun. Sometimes I get more engagement on Tumblr than Twitter. And overall, I'd say that Tumblr has been a positive experience as well. A very, very positive experience, because I get to share my very specific fan art that I make, and people like it and know like what I'm drawing and stuff, so that's great. I really enjoy that as well. Cons of the site. Wait, I forgot to say the cons of Twitter. We all know the cons of Twitter, right? Cons of Tumblr are that it's hard. You can't build a gallery as an artist very easily. So you just have a blog, and you don't really have a gallery, but using tags you can sort of create a type of gallery on your blog if people are willing to search the tags that you're using. Other con again is that maybe you see lots of unrelated content depending on who you're following. So maybe you're missing out on other people's art because of the dashboard, not showing you art specifically. So and also I think you're less likely to get commissions and stuff on Tumblr, I think. Okay, next question. How do people react when they find out you do art? Most people react positively. I've never had any specific experience right now that I can think of. No, usually they're like, oh, cool, that's nice. Do you draw? What do you draw? And maybe some people might ask to see my art or not, or they will go like, oh, I also draw sometimes in my free time, or things like that, They always react positively. I've never had any negative experiences. Okay, next question. Art things you want to try out but haven't got a chance or time to do yet. Okay, so I really want to do more, I want to do 3D animation. Another thing that I want to do is video art, which I, again, haven't really gotten around to doing. And I really want to get into oil painting, but it's kind of expensive. I'm kind of worried about the chemicals involved, and I don't have the space and the money to experiment right now, but it's coming for sure. I'd like to try making music, but I know nothing about that, so I'd like to maybe do some sort of set design or something related to theater performance-ish things. Maybe not me performing, but creating a performance or a set for something or something like that. I'd love to work with metal, but again, expensive equipment, knowledge that I don't have. If I think of anything else, I will add it on. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. Advice on anatomy and how can I draw hands? So, okay, so I'm gonna do a specific video for hands. I need to remember this and do it. A specific video on hands and a specific video on anatomy in general. my advice on anatomy is find out what works for you. Find loads of different breakdowns of anatomy and try them all out and see which one works for you. Maybe learning about each separate muscle will work for you. Maybe using cylinders will work for you. Maybe gesture drawing will work for you. But try all of them out and see which one clicks in your brain. For me, it's cylinders and boxes and simple shapes that I can just pose like a little doll and then add the muscles on top of that. Try different methods of learning anatomy or of drawing or breaking down anatomy and find which one clicks for your mind. Okay, next question. Is there a specific aspect of art or an approach to it you wish you knew sooner while learning and practicing art? Something that made a part of it easier in any way? Okay, so yes, that is using references and copying and studying other artists. I didn't do that for the longest time. Especially growing up, like as a teenager, I thought that was like you shouldn't be using references or copying other artists, which really slowed me down. And I was also drawing just the same thing over and over and over and over again, and I wasn't really venturing out of my comfort zone enough. So use references, do studies, and go out of your comfort zone are the three things that I wish I had started doing earlier. Next question. Do you have creatures, people, places, etc. you love to see in somebody else's art but don't like or refuse to draw yourself? I really enjoy seeing interior drawings, like drawings of rooms, drawings of interior places. I have a very hard time drawing them myself and don't usually enjoy doing it or feel the need to do it, but I love seeing it in other people's art. Other thing is heavily detailed, complex, intricate details, like floral decorations, like border designs, intricate clothing, intricate accessories, jewelry, stuff like that. I don't have the patience for it, and I honestly don't have the consistency in my drawing sort of process to make details like that, like very clean, very intricate, beautiful details. But again, I love seeing them. Yeah, I think that's that. Next question. How do you color? I very much struggle with color palettes and general shading. So, okay. Color palettes. I have a very go with my gut approach to choosing color palettes, and that's why I break my art down into layers so I can keep each color in a separate layer and tweak them a lot. So I can, I just change the hue, the saturation, all of these things until I'm happy with what I'm seeing, and I just trust my mind to tell me what looks good and what doesn't. And that comes with a lot of trial and error and with a lot of experience using colors and mixing and matching them. So really what you need to do is build your color like sense. Like do a lot of tries and like just start slapping colors on the canvas, like on a digital drawing program. Just start putting colors together and see what works. When it comes to traditional art, it's a similar process in terms of learning, in terms of building your ability to see and recognize which colors go together. So it's a lot of trial and error and a lot of attempts and a lot of trying colors out. And I also have specific colors when it comes to traditional painting that I just use. They're my comfort colors. I know how they work. I know that they work well together, and I just use these over and over again. So it's hard to go wrong with them. So yeah, that's that. And in terms of shading, when it comes to digital art, for shading, I use a multiply layer with a very saturated color. and then I desaturated or lowered the opacity as needed. So also learning how to shade, I would say that the one thing that really changed the way I shade characters digitally was doing still life studies. So you just get some items which have their weird unique shapes and light and shadows, you put them in a nice lighting situation, and you draw them traditionally or digitally, whatever you want. But you observe the shadows and the shapes and how they all work, and you draw them. I've drawn live model, which really helps again with the shadows and stuff, and I've drawn a lot of studies of sculpture casts. These are all part of the preparation for art school, and the still life and the sculpture studies helped me understand shading and how to shade forms. And everything I shade like digitally. I shade using the knowledge that I have from these studies that I did, and I study real shadows and light and shapes and forms, and slowly your mind is going to understand how to apply these to something that is digital. So if you do both things at the same time, so you're doing studies from real life, and then the next day you do a digital character drawing, and you apply what you did the previous day on this new art, you're gonna see what I mean. Hopefully I'm not saying stupid things, but this is how it worked for me. So okay, next question, and last one for now. This is a bit generic, but what inspires your art and your approach at an art piece you'll make, besides fan art, of course? Okay, so 3 things. One is if I want to capture a specific mood with what I'm making, the mood is going to inform the approach that I have for the piece, right? The second is if I see something and that something inspires me to make something similar. So I'll just be walking around on Pinterest, on Instagram, or DeviantArt, Twitter, whatever. I'll just be seeing, I see like a piece that I like, and that piece does something in my brain. I'm like, oh, I need to draw something similar to that, or, you know, somehow it inspires me. Third approach is, the most usual one is that a picture appears in my mind and I have to draw it. So I'm constantly seeing pictures in my brain, I'm constantly daydreaming, I'm constantly coming up with ideas. So the most usual way I get inspired to make art is by the pictures in my mind. So I just think, oh, what if I like had a pig, but it had like huge like deer antlers, you know, and then I draw that. So that's, I guess I'm answering the question. I'm not really sure what the question was. I'm thinking that's an answer to that question. I'm not sure. And also the approach changes depending on the purpose of the art. So if the art is for a commission, I'm gonna use my normal approach, which is something that I have streamlined and I know how to do very well and efficiently. If the art is meant to be something experimental or something for art school, which needs to be like kind of weirder, that's gonna inform my approach. If the art is something that I just want to get a quick sketch and show an idea or a situation rather than have some very clean art, that's gonna inform the approach. If I want the opposite, if I don't care about the subject so much but the rendering and the quality of the lines, the other qualities of the art other than the subject, then my approach is again going to be different. So I guess the approach depends on the reason why I'm making each piece. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so the rest we're gonna do next time. Thank you for tuning in. I hope something was useful, something was interesting. Hopefully. I don't know. Anyway, at any rate, I hope you maybe enjoyed it. Have a nice rest of your day, and go draw something. Go sketch, like a little flower, or a little plant, or your pet, your favorite cartoon character, whatever you want. Bye.